Okay, welcome to the last video and the last topic, topic 10. Anawarians are victims of the over-city's excess and apathy more than each other's cruelty. Do you agree? It's a nice, more obvious one that we can deal with in 3 parts. So let's underline some key terms. Remember, we're talking about the over-city here, the excess, apathy, and each other's cruelty. Alright? So, let's divide that into 3 parts. Okay? Remember, we have 3 things. We need to discuss each of these 3 things. And while we're talking about this, the temptation is to do paragraph 1, 2, and 3, but the much better way is to find some 3 ideas or themes that connects all these and discuss each one of these within each paragraph. And we'll talk more about that in class. But let's talk about excess. Yeah? And remember, we're victims, right? This is important. So we can't be talking about how the excess is good for us, because this excess might come in the form of the rubbish. So we can't be saying, well, the rubbish is great because that's what they're living on. They're living on recycling, and isn't that wonderful, right? They're also trapped by this rubbish. Yeah? The rubbish itself, yes, it's giving them industry, but it's also trapping them in that environment. Okay? It's turning them into a bit of wage slavery. Okay? And this overseas excess I find really interesting, because I find them to be, overcity is really treated like this non-interventionist god. It's this great powerful beast that spews out all this rubbish that they live off. And there's the man with mental health issues who's screaming at one of the hotels, hurling abuse at it. And I think it's a really poignant moment where he ends up turning around and saying, forgive me, why aren't you looking after me? After everything falls apart a bit. Apathy, in regards to law, rights, beliefs. Right? They don't, the Anawarians aren't real people. Right? Anawarians, the desire to remove the slums, remember, is to do with becoming slum-free. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean moving people out of poverty? Are they going for poverty-free? No, they're not. They're not interested in fixing poverty. They're interested in removing slums from their beautiful city. Sometimes in their high-rise hotels, they have to look out and they see a slum, and that's a bit of a downer. So they'd much prefer to get rid of those slums by knocking them all down. Right? They're not really interested in helping the people. They're interested in getting rid of the slum, and we can see it in this terminology: slum-free versus poverty-free. Let's have a look at each other's cruelty. This is hailing back to this fierce competitive capitalism that we were talking about in topic 9. Yeah? This modern social mobility competition, individualism aspect, that they're going to betray each other and they're going to compete. In a capitalistic way. And when we think about this betrayal, when we think about putting people in a trap. Well, they're using the mechanism of the overcity anyway. The mechanism of law, justice, whatever that means, is being used to be cruel to one another. So even this belongs up here. This is an example of the overseer's excess, right? And this capitalist notion is from the overcity. So if we were to write an essay, what we could write about, rather than having one paragraph on excess, one paragraph on apathy, and one paragraph on cruelty, we could talk about how the overcity itself is responsible for the cruelty, right? That the rubbish is responsible for the capitalism, right? That the mechanism of betrayal has come from the overcity's apathy towards the law, right? That and then we could think of another one. Yeah, this is kind of how we need to find a good structure. We're not looking for 1, 2, 3. We're looking to find things that can kind of wrap all this up together. That's the last video. Again, make your comments, and I do want to remind you that these videos are the beginning of your understanding of these topics. They're not the end of your understanding. If you write just what I've said here, well, alright, okay, fine. But if you can go that little bit further, that whole lot further in fact, this is where you're going to differentiate you from your peers. Good luck, and I'll see you in class.